Hi, in today's video we're actually going to swap the turbo on this Astra 1.9 cdti. Now it's the same engine that you would find in, say, something like a Saab or in a Vectera, all with the 1.9 cdti engines. I believe it's actually the same engine that's in the Fiat, but it might be a slightly different process of what you need to remove for those. So I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube, and they're showing that when they're doing it, you're having to remove the radiator, you're having to move the aircon radiator, you have to move the front bumper, all to do the job. This isn't actually the case. I've actually already completed this job and filmed it pre-hand, so this is just the intro to this video. So stick around and I'll show you how to change the video without actually removing all those things that you see on all those other videos. So this is Rich Man Poor Motors. If you like these sorts of videos, then please remember to like and subscribe. So I've removed the under tray. We're going to start by taking off this grille and this bit at the front. So the grille, undo the screws, and then it will just pop up. So to gain access to the front of the car, we've got to undo these screws, and just down there behind the water, so we can move this. So I meant to say earlier, I'll drop this in at the beginning of the video, but disconnect your battery. So 10mm for the water bracket. $13mm. So slide that away. So now we need to take off the turbo hose, and I'll take this off. So we need to undo the turbo inlet hose. It's like plastic, hard plastic case. Just makes it easier. Now down here, you have a clip on the turbo for this hose. Might be around a different way to yours. So I'm going to go in from underneath with an extension and undo that. We're also going to remove this hose. So just remove the hose. So you can see I've got oil from my old turbo in there. That's why I'm changing it. So now you might be able to access this plastic pipe from the top, but I'm doing that from underneath. From underneath the car, there's the exhaust. That's up there is the Jubilee clip I'm undoing. The bottom here, I thought I'd also show you. You can see the oil return, and obviously the vacuum pump, so the vacuum pipe. So I've got some extensions on. So undo the hose. Undo the torque screw. So that's removed. And the inlet's removed. So I'm just going to take this hose off. So that's more for actual access. Actually, I'm going to remove this first. Get this out of the way. remove that. Again, as you can see, there's all oil in from that turbo. So I'm just going to try and remove this bit. So, universal joint. So I'm just going to undo this so I can pull this way a bit. Just pop that off. And the hand cover. So you've got a clip on the hose here. So just so you can see, there's the plug on the bottom, it's down that way, so there's the plug on the bottom. So undo the heat shield. So remove all the bolts on the cover. So I've already removed the heat shield down here, but there's another one. It's quite hard to see from up here, it's just in that. So I just need to remove the bracket here. Now top tip, put something like a rubber glove or something over anything where a screw could fall down. So let's get this heat shield off and reveal the turbo. So here's the turbo on an Astra 1.9 cdti. So here's the inlet. So I've already just removed a bit of plastic inlet hose. Obviously you've got the outlet of the turbo for the air going into the engine, and on this side is the exhaust side. So you can see the exhaust down here, down there. That's the oil feed into the turbo, and there's the clamp we're going to have to undo to remove the exhaust. Oil feed to the turbo, so we've got a 6mm Allen key, universal joint and an extension. just loosening this clamp here. So remove the bracket. Moving the pipe. So 16mm. So take the bracket off. Nuts for the exhaust. So normally you just undo this bolt and then this clamp sort of comes off, but this on this car it's all corroded on solid, so I've had to use a Dremel. If you can see, I've cut the bracket here, I've ordered a new one, and I've knocked that down with a chisel. So that's opened that up more, so hopefully this should come out now. So now I can move this clamp. So I've removed this, but it's still connected with the sensor. I'm just going to lay that down, so get it off. So 12mm, I'm using a flat edge socket. So I'll show you on this new turbo, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 at the top, and you've got one in the middle there, 2, 3, 4 at the bottom. So this one's sort of above the inlet, so you've got like your dipstick here, and this one obviously you've got to reach through the middle of the turbo to get to. The last one on the end. This car was previously actually owned by someone who lived next to the sea, so lots of the nuts on this are actually very rusty. But I'm just going to leave that on a few threads until I take off the oil feed. So there's 4 bolts on the top, or 4 nuts on the top and 4 on the bottom. So you've got one this side of the turbo, one sort of in the middle of the turbo, and I think one each side of the dipstick. I'll just have to check that in a minute. So this is one I was worried about the most, being in the middle of the turbo. So you have 2 nuts this side of the turbo outlet on the compressor side. So the last nut should be just fitting pretty much over the top of the dipstick. So now onto that last nut, which is rounded off. Now if you get a rounded off nut, I use the flat-sided sockets to actually try and help this. But you can get these sort of extractors, so nut extractors, so that will actually screw on and cut onto the nut. So you can see that. Okay. Obviously you have to use new nuts. It will turn back the other way, so it's not quite so hard to get off at the end. And there's that nut removed. That's now actually loose, so we'll take off the, just so you can see it there, the oil feed in. So that's the banjo removed, so time to go underneath. So underneath we've got the oil return to undo, and we've got to pull the vacuum pipe off. So I've got a tray to catch any oil. So this pipe just pulls off, and 10mm nuts on here. I'll probably have to put the GoPro down to actually do it. So I'm not sure if you can actually see the spanner on there, but 10mm. I'll just take that off there as well. So the oil pipe I just took off there. So just undoing that last manifold bolt that already loosened. To make life easier, I loosened this bracket here. So that's the job for removing the turbo, but before you go I want to actually show you how to install the turbo as well, because you know, there's a few things you should be aware of. So let's crack on and start installing the new turbo. So here's the new turbo. So just showing you, you've got your air in and out on that side, and on this side you've got your exhaust from the engine in and out. And obviously to control your VNT, so leave these in place while I try and install it. turn that off now. So just to make life easier, I loosened this bracket here. So you've gone to the trouble of doing this job, don't cheap out by not putting on a new gasket. So I just take the old gasket off. So obviously make sure you get your oil feed in. Now I'm just going to put a nut on, hold it in place. Now the nuts I took off are too bad to go on, so I've got some new nuts. So just got to remove this. We've got to put the pipe on, so that goes from the turbo to the block. Don't forget the gasket. So just put these bolts in, make sure you keep your gaskets on. So I need to put the rubber hose back on there, but I'm actually going to tighten up the manifold first. So as with all manifolds, torque from the middle outwards. An initial tightening. So I'm going to put the oil feed in now, so just unplug that. Now before I do it, because obviously I haven't built the turbo myself, I'm just going to make sure that it's primed with oil. So I've got my oil can. Just give it a slight turn. So get the Allen key. So fit this back. Don't forget to put that back on. So it's a glorious day today. As usual, I've left my watch on, so I'll just have to take that off. Tighten that up. And put the vacuum pipe on the turbo. So that's the exhaust fitted back. So now the exhaust is on, we can line up and tighten up this bracket. So we want the bolt straight in front, because we've got the heat shield on. So tighten up the clamp. So you don't do this before you've got the rest of the exhaust, because you need to get it all lined up correctly. So I've got the shim washer in there, the gasket and clamp. We're obviously going to make sure you get it so you can get the Allen key on the end. I don't know if you can see, but it's actually easier to tighten this up from underneath. So with the gasket on, and now that's fully tight, you just make sure the other one's nice and tight as well. So fit the heat shield. So slide on the air inlet. So you've got a rubber seal. So slide on the air inlet, you've got a rubber seal and a Jubilee clip. So just take off the dust cap. There we go, that's slid on. So it's easier, I find, to actually do the Jubilee clip up from underneath. So as you can see, so that clamp's tightened up. So now the rest of the procedure is just the same as refitting what we took off earlier. So I don't need to show you all that stuff. So please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in another video. Cheers, thank you.